Invoice Simple is an invoicing app for people who work with their hands. Tradespeople, contractors, cleaners, freelancers. You write an estimate on your phone, standing in the customer's driveway. One tap turns it into an invoice. They pay you by card. That's the product. It isn't accounting software, and it doesn't pretend to be. So here's what we're actually doing in the next few minutes. What it does. What it costs right now in August 2026, because that number has moved. And what the people paying for it every month say once the novelty has worn off. Let me be straight with you about how I put this together, because it changes how much you should trust it. I don't have an account. I never signed up. What I did instead was open their real pricing page and read every plan and every limit straight off it. Then I went and read the reviews people write when they're annoyed. Trustpilot, Capterra. Reddit threads full of small business owners comparing notes. The bad ones especially, because the good ones write themselves. That's the trade. No hands-on demo from me, but nothing in here is a brochure read out loud either. Start with what the product actually does, because that part is genuinely good and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. 60 plus invoice templates, and you can drop your own logo, your rates and photos straight into them. Estimates convert to invoices in one tap, which is the feature the whole app is built around. You get real-time read receipts, so you can see the moment your customer opened the invoice. Clients pay online by card, and the page shows Visa, MasterCard, Stripe and PayPal sitting behind it. Receipts go out automatically. Here's why that matters more than it sounds. The gap between finishing a job and getting the invoice out is where small businesses quietly bleed money. You're tired, you're driving to the next call, and the paperwork slides to Sunday night. An app that closes that gap to about 90 seconds is worth real money, even if it never does anything clever. But every one of those features sits behind a number, and the number is the part nobody puts in a thumbnail. There are 3 plans. Essentials is $6.99 a month, Plus is $14.99, Premium is $21.99. Those are the prices on their page as I'm recording this. US dollars, and their own footnote says it varies by local currency. Now, the part that actually decides whether this app fits you has nothing to do with features, it's the invoice cap. Essentials, the $6.99 plan, gives you 3 invoices a month. 3 plus gives you 10. You have to go all the way to Premium at $21.99 before the word unlimited appears. Do that arithmetic on yourself for a second. If you're a one-van operation building 6 or 7 customers a month, the entry plan is not your plan. You're on $14.99 before you've sent your 8th invoice. If you're a cleaner with 20 regulars, you're on the top tier. That's over $250 a year to send invoices. There is a 2 months free offer if you pay annually, which softens it, but it doesn't change the shape. That's the catch. And it's the single most important thing on this page. Now it gets interesting, because those aren't the prices you'll find if you go looking. Third-party pricing trackers logged these same 3 plans earlier this year. They list them at $4.99, $13.49 and $19.99. One of those pages is dated February. Capterra's pricing entry still shows the old numbers today. The live page says $6.99, $14.99 and $21.99. So the entry tier has gone up by about 40% inside a single year. I want to be careful here. I didn't see an official announcement, and I'm not telling you there was one. I'm telling you what the trackers recorded a few months ago and what the page says today. You can check both yourself in about a minute. Hold on to that, because it's about to explain something. Look at the ratings, because there are 2 completely different stories being told about this app at the same time. On their own site, Invoice Simple carries a 4.9 star badge. That's off more than 266,000 App Store and Play Store ratings. That is an enormous number of ratings and a genuinely excellent score. Then you go to Trustpilot. Invoice Simple sits at 3.9 out of 5 there from around 364 reviews. That's as of August 2026. There's a second Trustpilot listing for the app specifically, sitting at 2.9. Over on Capterra, it lands in the high threes, somewhere between 3.7 and 3.9, depending which page you land on. 4.9 on one platform, under 4 on the others. Both are real numbers and neither one is lying. They're measuring different moments. An App Store rating prompt fires at you inside the app, usually right after you did something that worked. You just sent an invoice, it looked sharp, you tap 5 stars and move on. Nobody opens Trustpilot after a good day. You go to a review site when you've been charged for something you thought you'd cancelled. So use the App Store score to judge the app. Use the review sites to judge the company. That distinction is worth more to you than either number on its own. Which brings us to what people actually complain about, and it's remarkably consistent. Trustpilot's own summary of recent reviews points at frequent price increases and unexpected changes to subscription terms. Specifically, new invoice limits being applied. Read that next to the price jump we just walked through and it stops being a coincidence. Second, billing surprises. There's a Capterra reviewer describing a sudden jump in the subscription fee, then an automatic charge with no confirmation after an accidental tap on a different plan. Third, and this one is my favorite because it's so specific, there's a reported invoice numbering problem. Go back to a customer you've invoiced before at the same address. The old invoice number can come back as your new one. If you're a trade doing repeat work at the same properties, that isn't a nitpick, that's your books. Fourth, some reviewers report payment processing delays and occasional app glitches. And fifth, customer service is genuinely split. Plenty of people say responses are slow. Others go out of their way to praise the support team. I'm not going to flatten that into one verdict, because the evidence doesn't support one. That's the honest picture. It isn't a scandal. It's a well-built app with a billing reputation problem. There's one more thing worth knowing before you subscribe, and it explains a whole category of angry reviews. If you buy the subscription inside the iPhone or Android app, you don't cancel it inside Invoice Simple. You cancel it through Apple or Google, and if you want a refund, their own help center sends you to Apple's report a problem flow on the Apple receipt. Apple decides not Invoice Simple. That isn't sneaky. It's how App Store billing works for everybody, but it does mean the cancel button is inside a different company's app than the one you're annoyed at. Buy through their website instead, and you cancel from settings in your own account. That's the cleaner route if you have the choice. And the free question, since it comes up constantly. Their pricing page headline says start for free. Capterra lists both a free version and a free trial. TrustRadius flatly states there's no free version or trial. A Trustpilot reviewer describes being told it was free, then told to make an account, then told to pay. I can't resolve that for you, and I won't pretend to. The sources genuinely disagree. Go in assuming you'll be paying, so who is this actually for? It's for the solo operator who wants to write an invoice on a phone, at the curb, off an estimate they already made. Paid by card without ever opening a laptop. If that's you, the speed is real, the templates look professional, and the read receipts alone will get you paid faster. That's the use case this app wins. Who should skip it? If you send more than 10 invoices a month and you don't want the $21.99 tier, this is the wrong shape. If you need a client portal, Invoice Simple marks itself with a red cross on that row of its own comparison table. If you want real accounting rather than invoicing, this was never that. And if paying a subscription just to send invoices bothers you on principle, you're not alone. That complaint runs through every small business thread I read. Which is the thing about their comparison table. They line themselves up against Jobber at $27 a month and Invoicera at $15. Against that field, $7 looks like a bargain. But the real competitor to a $7 invoicing app isn't a $27 one. Real users on Reddit keep naming Zoho Invoice and Wave, and both of those are free. That comparison isn't on the table, and it's the one you should run yourself. So, the short version. Invoice Simple is a fast, well-made mobile invoicing app whose real price is set by an invoice cap, not by the number on the plan. Work out your monthly invoice count before you pick a tier. You'll either love this thing or never sign up, and both of those beat finding out in month 3. If you do want to look at it properly, the link is in the description below. Now I want to hear from you. How many invoices do you actually send in a month? Drop the number in the comments. That one figure decides this whole question, and I'd like to know where most of you land.